Mikuro Mawufenu Metole. Greetings to all the Africans that are watching this. We are hosts of Kilombo Blog, Bori the First. We are the paramount monarch of Hosu, of the Maroon Kilombo Monarchy of Ganlodo. We come to you on this beautiful Yonu Dagbe. Yonu Dagbe means Day of the Women. That is the name of, in our 7-day mundane week, that's the name for our 5th day. So we realized we wanted to follow up the video about what Ganlodo is about and what we are not about with a video speaking on the basics. What is Vodùn? We realized we didn't have anything online anymore that spoke to that. And we're doing this because there are a lot of people that are contacting us and they really don't know what Vodùn is. They know their ancestral soul is leading them to us, leading them to Vodùn, but they still don't quite know what Vodùn is. And when they try to look up stuff online and whatnot, just get a lot of people doing rituals and stuff like that. So we want to just be very brief and give some of the basic structure and tenets of African Vodùn. So one of the first things people want to know is, how old is Vodùn? What's the date? So we want to be very clear. We're not biblical religion. We're not a religion at all. Biblical traditions, those that are related to the Jewish Torah, the Christian Bible, and the Islamic Quran, have dates because they are, in the scheme of history, very new, very recent. There is no founding date to Vodùn or any African tradition. We've seen people say that it's 10,000 years old. Vodùn is old as Afrikans. However far that goes back. If you really examine it, when you get into the culture proper, really examine the things that are done, and you study history and archaeology and anthropology, you will see that Vodùn has been here as long as Africans have been here. A lot of the archaeological findings from 80,000 years ago line up with what is being done in Vodùn today, the proper things that have been done in Vodùn. So, Vodùn is the oldest tradition of all African traditions. All other African traditions, and many in those traditions will tell you this, come out of Vodùn. It's similar to how the Baptists, the Methodists, the Anglicans, and all of them come out of the Catholic Church. No matter what they try to do, they still got remnants of Catholicism in them. So, Vodùn is very ancient. It's ancestral. It is for African, so-called black people only. It's ancestral in a way of not only passed on through our generations as a culture, but it is in the blood. Non-African blood is not structured to receive the essence of Vodùn, the deities, and all of that comes with it. We call it Ashe, the power. They can go through little, physical movements to say, hey, I practice Vodùn, but that's the term they use, practice. We don't practice anything, by the way. We live it. But they cannot have Vodùn in them. They have their traditions they can go to, and another thing about Vodùn, we don't believe, we know. So people in many of the other traditions, they'll say, I believe in, or we believe in. In Vodùn, we know in. We know in. We don't believe in anything. It is an experiential, not experimental, experience tradition, culture. And that's another thing. It's more of a culture than it is a tradition. Even though both of them can be used interchangeably, but you don't hear many people refer to their tradition as a culture. And that's often because of religious thinking. They take the tradition out and say that's the culture over there, and this is the spiritual tradition, or some even say religious tradition, and that's non-African. That's anti-African thinking. That's non-African thinking. So, and that's why we subtitled Kilombo paradigm as Maroon sovereignty through Vodun culture, not Vodun religion or Vodun tradition. Even though tradition is cool. We get asked, do we believe in God? Once again, you're talking about Africans that have been here millions of years. If anything about this quote unquote God thing exists, it comes from Africans. Or Africans had it first, put it like that. So yes, we believe in the ultimate creator. We call it in its active aspect in governing the universes, plural, Mau Lisa. Mau is the feminine aspect of the creator, represented by the moon. Lisa is the masculine aspect, represented by the sun. Now, this is in the phone language of the Aja phone language of what is predominantly spoken in southern Benin and also in Togo and some parts of Nigeria and Ghana. Related languages are Ewe and Yoruba. Yoruba a little more distant though. So, Maulisa, as you see right there, the Africans of Mawufe, that's the original name for Africa, they had the true spiritual experience to know that the creator is a duality, masculine and feminine on and off, binary. We also have another term that's very, very important for the creator called Segbo, S-E-G-B-O. It comes from Se, S-E plus G-B-O. G-B-O means the greatest. Se is the soul or spirit. So, each individual person has a Se. We have the little Se's. Segbo is the owner of all Se's. That's why we call her, him, Segbo, the greatest Se. The owner of all Se's. That's a very important concept. We could do countless videos on that. Just on the name, why the name Segbo exists. This tradition is about balance, the masculine and the feminine. As you study it, you'll see more and more of that. In Vodun, the mythological metaphor is that the earth, the world we live in, is divided in two half calabashes. You ever seen a calabash or gourd? It's roundish. You see one cut in half. That's where they collect water and sometimes eat certain foods out of in Mawufe, which is Africa. The calabash above is called Sewe. The calabash below is the half calabash. Below is called Ayi. The one above Sewe, that literally means house of spirit, house of the spirit, which some people would say heaven. Ayi is the earth, the living earth, and those that are on it. So, we have a very powerful concept called Salawa, and in the Aja language, that is the closest translation is karma. And Salawa is accumulated over lifetimes, which brings us into another knowing and not belief of Vodun, is that we most often reincarnate over time. Character has a lot to do with our reincarnation and our Salawa, so-called karma. You bring over things from your previous life into this one. And if there are a lot of negative things or whatever negative things that need to be worked on, it is the duty of the priest and the priestess to divine on that, to do divination and find out what needs to be done to eradicate certain wrong things and to enhance the better parts of your, which brings us to another concept, Handuwa. Handuwa is destiny. But destiny is connected to character, which is Jijo, or Iwa in Yoruba, and which are also connected to Salawa. All of those play together, if you can see that. So it affects the Salawa that you've accumulated, affects your say and your Handuwa, and how your say is expressed in this lifetime. So keep that in mind. Maulisa operates through the Hun. The Hun are the deities. That same word Hun, Hun, means blood and drum and heart. So the Hun are functionaries of Maulisa. One Hun is Hevioso, deity, thunder deity, thunder and lightning, but he's really about justice, and he's one of those political deities. Another is Vejida, which is the deity of the wind, the whirlwind. She's about justice also. So these different Hun are consulted to bring the two halves of the calabash together. That is the goal in Vodun, to bring earth to heaven and heaven to earth, to bring the calabash together, to complete that ejiwapo, that two-ness, that balance. So the Hun are very, very important. We do what is called vosa, or offerings and sacrifices to the Hun. Now, we really don't like doing this, but there are other traditions that have this same thing, but they're not ridiculed because they're not African. The Hindus have many, many deities. The Christians have many angels, mostly male, showing the imbalance in their tradition. The Muslims have those same angels because, of course, they copied the Christian Bible. And they have the jinn, which are these other kind of spirits. So, our tradition, we have Hun, unapologetically. We are not a monotheistic tradition. Some would try to say that so they could prove something to Christians or Muslims. Like, no, we're not monotheistic. Yes, we have one creator, but we're still not monotheistic. Call it what you will, we're not monotheistic. The Kolita. The word Kolita loosely translates as ancestors. The bedrock of Vodun in any African tradition, African culture, are the ancestors. In this case, called Kolita. In Yoruba, we call them Egungun. We say the first shrine and the primary, most important shrine is the family in Vodun. That's another very important know in, not belief in, that we observe. That being said, the family is connected to the ancestors, the Kilito. So we always go to our ancestors first to see how to resolve situations or enhance the good of a thing. Ancestors are first. Kolito. Language is very important. The languages we use in Vodun are Aja, various branches of Aja. You'll see it in print and online. It's called Bay, GBE. Bay simply means language. And that's the word for language in all of the related Aja languages. The Aja are the parent of all the what you'll see the scholars refer to as base speaking people. So the Fon are the most numerous, but what they're speaking is still another version of Aja. So that's why we just simply use Aja to refer to the whole identity of the culture. Just like we say Yoruba culture, we say Aja culture. Language is very important. We do not supplicate any deity or any ancestor with non-African languages. The foods are very important. We eat African foods. That's not just because they're good, but also they're good for you. Look up the health benefits of African foods. And also, that's our culture. Protocols are very important. The elders have a particular place of high point. The priests, the priestesses, those that have done right in the community, the kings and queens, the chiefs, chieftesses. There's a certain protocol when you're dealing with any of those type of people. For instance, you would say a general greeting is kudo-o, but to a chief or priest or primarily chiefs and royals, kings, queens, queen mothers, you would say me kudo. You would put me in front. And that's like greeting a group of people. And the reason you're doing that is because you're greeting them as an institution and not as an individual. Rituals are very important. Our daily rituals are called dehiho. Dehiho is when you go to your personal shrines at your house and supplicate your ancestors and whatever deities, if you have any, in your own household. Daily dehiho. Some people have scheduled dehiho. Some don't. Scheduled dehiho is good because you can get it. You get in the routine, and it builds up a particular ashe. Ashe means power, or the essence of something. That's another concept that you should know about Vodun. It's more pronounced in the Aja Ashe, and Yoruba is Ashe. So Dehiho is very, very important. Ritual, offerings, falling under the word Vo or Vosa. Offerings of food, items to the deities and ancestors. So there's one particular deity that's very important that we want to speak on very briefly, called Legba or Eshu. Eshu is the deity of the crossroads. A lot of the blues songs, many of the blues songs of the early 20th century, spoke about the crossroads. Even Bone Thugs and Harmony, the rap group, Crossroads. Eshu is the messenger between spirit world and humans. That's the most important thing you could know about Eshu right now. So right now you have, if you watch this video, an overall view of the basics of Vodun. Character Jijo or Iwa is at the top of our doing. We believe that many of the other traditions, and sadly a lot of people in African tradition, do not emphasize character enough. But character is who we are. So, women are equal to men in Vodun. Once again, mentioning the balance. We have goddesses, we have gods. We have the man, we have the woman. Now, there are roles that we play in our culture that are often centered around a particular gender. But neither of those roles are subservient. Or they are not roles of subservience at all. So We believe in the balance. We know in the balance. Apologies. So that's that. Now you have a rounded view of Vodun. Those on the mailing list, if you have any questions pertaining to this video and you want to get a little more clarity, you can email us, and we will get back to you soon. Other than that, goodbye, and we will see you soon.